All right, Elon Musketeer. We're gonna try again. We're gonna go aggressive, and we're gonna take a trip to Apple Bay Street in Emeryville. It's gonna be a little bit of freeway driving and a little bit of city driving, and we're gonna see how aggressive the Tesla Autopilot is and see how well it manages. But so far, I would say it's great for freeway, okay for city streets, and for me, a no in parking lots. Am I gonna keep the full self-driving and pay $199 per month? Probably not. If I was going on a road trip every week, then yes. I might get it again when we go on a road trip back to SoCal from the Bay Area. But for day-to-day driving, I don't think it's worth $199. I actually do not think it's worth $12,000, because just in case your car gets total or you sell your car, you're not going to recoup that $12,000. Whereas I think $199 is actually worth it if you use full self-driving a lot. But as Elon Musketeer will say, I talk too much. So let's start driving, okay? So I gotta put on my seatbelt, we're gonna back up and engage autopilot once we're in drive mode, and we should be good. All right, here we go, backing up, and we don't need to look back, but I'm still not so confident yet. But this camera right here is really good, so we're gonna use this camera to watch yourself as we back up, and we'll be ready to rock and roll in just a moment. So here we go, we're gonna go drive, and of course I'm not going to put it into autopilot just yet because we're still in parking lots. Well, you know what, why not? Autopilot, go for it, have at it. So autopilot does not work well with speed bumps, so it's good to avoid speed bumps. Right here, this is where it's gonna be a little scary for me. It's gonna turn around, hopefully. Oh, ooh, see, I didn't know if that car was gonna come up. All right, never mind, I chicken out again. All right, autopilot back on. Oh shoot, I'm gonna stop it. Hang on. Okay, autopilot engage. Here we go. There we go. Autopilot is engaged. It's driving. So I would say it hesitates in certain situations, which is starting to make me feel less confident, especially at stop signs and sometimes areas where it's a crossing, but it's not really a stop sign. It still stops, and that's where I'm like, it causes a little bit of what? Okay. Hang on. Oh, it's gonna run the light. It's gonna run the light. Okay, hang on. Woo! It was close to that car right there. All right, but it's good. All right. So it's kind of like when you're on an Uber and the driver is driving a little bit aggressive, and you're like, oh, yeah. I mean, the problem with the self-driving is, even though it's aggressive, which it is on right now, it's on the assertive mode. That's why it's taking more riskier action, more realistic. But then at the same time, I see why the normal mode is in the middle, because if you're not comfortable with the car taking actions for you, it's kind of nerve-wracking, right? Because it's aggressive, which is more like a normal driver, but at the same time, you're in a driver's seat fully responsible for whatever happens. And of course, you're not making an action, so it's even scarier. It's just like when you're driving and you take risky moves, you're comfortable with it, but the passenger almost is never comfortable, right? Because they're not in control. And this is just as scary because I'm the driver, but I'm not really controlling the car. So that's kind of the dilemma here. If it was full self-driving, and if it takes liability for whatever happens, I would be okay letting it control everything. But the fact that it's still putting me as the liability or the risk taker and responsible party in case anything happens, it's just, I'm not ready to take that. So right here, it's gonna change lane. It turns on the signal. It sees the car is clear. It takes a lane change. Sweet, I love it. Another question that we had in the comments was, will full self-driving disengage itself during a turn, even if you don't put force on the steering wheel after it tells you and announces you about it? That's a very important thing to test. I'm not sure if I'm brave enough to test that, but I think that comment is correct. I think it would at least complete the curve before it disengages autopilot, but I can't be sure. If anything, I would err on the side of it will disengage if you're not actively applying. Look, right here. So look, I'm not going to apply. Oh, actually, you know what? Just touching the steering wheel was enough. What? Hang on. Did you see that? So basically, it says apply steering wheel force, and I just barely touched it. So maybe now with the new update, you just need to slightly touch the steering wheel and it went away. Or maybe because I'm looking at the road again, I don't know. But that nagging went away. Let's test that again. So when the nagging comes up, I'm just going to slightly touch the steering wheel. Normally I would put a little bit of a resistant force on it, but now I'm just going to touch it and see if it triggers. Also, I want to see how long before the nagging comes up. In fact, I want to test if I'm looking at my phone, does the nagging happen more often? So right now, I'm looking at my phone. Is it going to nag me more? Of course, I got to make sure. No, right here. So right now, it's nagging me, right? It's nagging me. I'm going to just touch the steering wheel. Oh, you see that? Dude, that's the difference. Now, the nagging goes away the moment you just barely touch the steering wheel. That's the big update. That's the change that people don't realize. There's a lot of debate on the internet if this new update causes more nagging or less nagging. The people that are saying that it causes a lot less nagging are the people that just have their hand on the steering wheel with even just a light pressure. That's the difference. The people that are saying it nags more are the people that don't have their hands on the steering wheel at all. It nags more, but now you can alleviate that nagging by barely touching on the steering wheel. That's interesting. Alright, so now we know. So, and also the internal camera is detecting that nagging, or rather detecting me and making sure I'm looking at the road and will nag me if I'm not. Alright, so here we go. We're just turning. I'm going to look down at my phone right now and see if it's going to nag me. Oh man, there we go. It's not nagging me there. How about if I look out the window? Still not nagging me. And look out this way. Nope, no nagging. So far, so good. Alright, we got cars coming up. It's making this. Oh, here we go. Here's the nagging, right? If I just barely touch on it, does it go away? Barely tapping. Oh, no, see? There we go. I have to put a little bit more force on it that time. So, it's not as much force as before, but it still is some force. I don't know. Now I'm kind of back to the square one. Maybe it was a coincidence in the beginning, or maybe it is a reduce of force, but not a significant reduce of force. Enough to notice though. So that nagging alleviation from the touching the steering wheel was more the second time than the first time. How about if I just in the whole way just kind of keep my hands on here? That's probably the best way to handle autopilot, right? Because some of the comments says, some of the people in the comments, they said what actually makes the most sense. Because if I wasn't really just testing full self-driving and trying to see how we can push the limits, I'd probably just drive with my hand right here on the steering wheel, just like that, providing a little bit of resistance, and that's probably enough to keep it always engaged. And also, the benefit of it is because you're also constantly alert too, which is perfect. Because in the normal setting, that works the best. You have your hands here, you are letting the autopilot system know that you're engaged, and you are engaged, so everything is all good. So you notice if I put my hand here, we haven't had any nag. Driving on the freeway is probably the best use of autopilot, whether it's the basic autopilot or the enhanced autopilot or the full self-driving. It all works really well on the freeway. I think MKBHD, he said it best. He said that this is the bread and butter of full self-driving, right? Again, if you didn't know the 3 different tiers of autopilot in a Tesla, the basic autopilot is free. It comes with all the modern Teslas. Basically, it will control your speed. Okay, apply low force. I'm gonna apply low force right here. Goes away, perfect. The basic autopilot is just speed control and steering autopilot. So it keeps you in the lane and it keeps your speed in check with the cars in front of you and keeps the speed within the speed limit or however you adjust for it, right? So that's the basic autopilot. I think that is great because we were using that for about 8, 9, 10 months already and it's been perfect. The second tier of autopilot is called enhanced autopilot. So it's the same thing as a basic, but it adds the ability to do a lane change. So like right now, if I want to do a lane change, I can just put my blinker on right here, and it will, once I put the blinker on, I turned it off already, but if I put the blinker on, it will check if the road is clear and then merge over automatically. So for example, right now if I wanted to, I can put my blinker on, right? And it's gonna check, and if the road is clear, it will just change lanes for me, and then I can turn off, and then automatically turns off the blinker. Pretty sweet, right? So that is the enhanced autopilot, which is, I think, really good too if you take a road trip and you know you're driving a long distance and you're tired, you don't want to really focus on changing lanes, you just want to, hey, let me change lanes. You just put on a blinker like this, it sees a car coming, it doesn't change, and then the car's gone, it changes lanes for you. It's sweet. It's like the nice luxury in life, right? So that's the enhanced autopilot. And then what we have is a full self-driving, and that is the full package. That is from point A to point B, destination to, or beginning to destination. It will navigate off the freeway for you. It will do the city streets and do the parking lots for you. So that's what the full package does. And that's what we have right now. And that one costs $199 per month, or $12,000 for the lifetime of the vehicle. Yeah, and I don't know, is it really worth the $199? I think that part is debatable if you use it a lot. And is it worth the $12,000? Honestly, I think it's not worth the $12,000. The time, well, see, that's another problem too, is that when you're on autopilot, you're kind of just cruising, and it upsets some people too. Right now, obviously, because we're just doing the speed limit, and we shouldn't be doing the speed limit on this outer lane. So let's speed up a little bit. Let's go like 73. Wow, that guy is just aggressive. He's super aggressive. He's weeding in and out of traffic. But yeah, okay. So is it worth it? I'm gonna go back into this inner lane right here. I kind of like that it changes lanes and it turns off the signal for you. Also, this is something I learned yesterday too after reading the autopilot manual. If you're on the freeway and you signal like this, it will do a lane change for you, as you've been seeing us do, right? That's pretty sweet. Now, if you are in the city streets and you signal, it actually turns for you. Which is why yesterday I accidentally hit the left turn signal, and it navigated off the navigation path because it thought I wanted to turn. And that's where I freaked out, because it changed the path for me, and that's my fault because I didn't know how autopilot works in the city street. And again, in the city street, when you signal, it will make the next right or left turn accordingly. And during on a freeway, when you signal, it will change lanes for you. So that's kind of a nice thing of full self-driving. So yeah, I would not pay $12,000 for it because it stays with the vehicle. Now, if I pay $12,000 and it sticks with my profile, whether I drive this car or I rent another car or I buy a different Tesla, that I think is perfect. If it stays with my account, my profile, for the lifetime of my profile, I think that's worth it. But in the current situation, when you pay $12,000 for full self-driving, it stays with the car. And when you sell the car, it goes to the next owner. And the problem with that is that when people buy a used car, they're not going to value full self-driving that much. Maybe a couple $1,000, maybe $6,000 if you're lucky, but I don't think they're going to value it much more than a couple $1,000, to be honest. Unless you have the right audience. And the worst situation is if you get into a car accident, or your car gets stolen, or your car gets totaled. Well, that $12,000 really isn't factored into the value of your car, so you kind of just lose it. Whereas if you're paying $199 per month, you pay as you go, and maybe you've only been paying for a few months and then your car gets stolen or totaled, well then you're only out a few months versus being out a full $12,000, right? So of course, I'm just blabbing on right now as we're enjoying the full self-driving, and that's kind of the charm of full self-driving. Because I'm not so stressed out about keeping track of the lanes. When the exit comes up, it kind of gets there for me. It's not it's less stressful, right? So right now it's changing lanes for me. It's going inside, and we got about 1 mile left. Pretty good, pretty sweet. So it does so well on the freeway. If I drive a lot of freeway, it would be totally worth the $199 per month. If I had to commute to work every day, totally worth it. I currently don't, so I only drive during the weekends, and we don't even drive that much. I am going to get full self-driving with the Cybertruck because we're getting the Foundation series, and it gets the full self-driving package, so it is what it is. Oh, here we go. We're changing lane into this lane, and we're slowing down. Oh, it's perfect. Nice. Smooth. Perfect execution. So stuff like that, I feel like some drivers are capable of doing that on their own, but as I get older myself, I feel like my driving ability starts to degrade a little bit. So I might not be as fine-tuned to be able to change lanes and be able to slow down right away and monitor everything and kind of coordinate everything as well as this system does, because this is a computer, right? A computer is going to be able to monitor the cameras on the side, the cameras in the back, the speed, the distance with the car in front, everything. So it's really good. We just need to see how full self-driving really integrates with the environment, right? Because like I said in many other videos, if the whole world was on full self-driving, everything will be a piece of cake, just like in Will Smith's movie I Am Legend, right? Like, was it I Am Legend or I, Robot, right? I, Robot. Whoa. Whoa, see, it slowed down. That was a phantom braking right there. Oh, you see why I went to phantom braking? Because it saw the speed limit right here. It's 55 miles per hour. That's actually really good because this is a speed trap. A lot of people get tickets in this specific area because the freeway from here is 55 miles per hour, whereas before it was like 65 miles, just the previous section. So it's good at that too. Yeah, so like I was saying, like I, Robot, right, with Will Smith, when the whole world is like in hyper speed and everyone's on full self-driving autopilot, then it's perfect. But right now, oh, here's the interesting, no turn on red, no turn on red. Is it gonna try to turn on red? I'm gonna put my foot on the brake. Is it gonna turn on red? Is it gonna turn on red? Does it know to not turn on red? Let me see right here. Oh, it's smart. It's no turn on red, it's not turning on red. So this, I wonder if it's from the data or does it actually read that sign? This is no turn on red. But bravo, it's doing a good job. It doesn't turn on red. So now I don't care if people behind me honk at me or anything because it's no turn on red. However, I have a bad feeling. It's going to hesitate a little bit when it turns green. We'll see. But if it hesitates, the people behind me are going to honk because they're going to not like that behavior because it's not natural. Again, normally I would just kind of wait till it turns green and just go right through it, but it's gonna hesitate. I know it is, but we do have the autopilot on aggressive or aka assertive mode, but we'll see. We'll see. These are the things that is more or less inconsistent. Some stop signs it's aggressive, some stop sign it's way non-aggressive. There is a pedestrian, it sees a pedestrian right there. I got my foot on the brake just in case, and there's two pedestrians, there's two bicyclists right there. It's funny. Oh, there's three bicyclists. Oh, no. Oh, see? They cross illegally. Because we have a green arrow. And they're crossing illegally. But yep. Oh my gosh. So I don't know if it would have done a good job. I bet it probably would have, but I was not going to risk their lives. So yeah, that's where you gotta have your foot on the brakes ready to go. So here we have the situation where there is a red light, but you can turn if you feel the road is clear. Now, on the right lane, you can do it. On our lane, you can also do it, but I see that Tesla's not doing it. See? Now, I would probably get honked at, and I'm just gonna let the person behind me honk at me. I'm okay with that. Because one of the things, oh, okay, green arrow, perfect. Now does it take the right turn on the right curve? Perfect. All right, so there we go. So another thing you have to realize is that you will get honked at, you will get strange looks, you will get people giving you a stare because you are gonna behave the way that the car decides how it wants you to behave, right? Because it's going, look, wait, what is it doing? Okay, so it's going, oh, no, what is it doing? What is it doing? Okay, so that, whoa, Tesla, whoa. Okay, I let it do its thing, but that was, I gotta review that footage because I don't know what just happened. Okay, now we're turning right here. We're going to Apple Bay Street right here. Perfect. We have arrived and we are at the Apple store. So everything is good here, but that was a little bit crazy, right? You let me know. Was the autopilot kind of goofing off, doing something that was not perfect, or was it just me being paranoid and it was just fine? I think something was going on. So now there's a car in front of us. Let me see. Does it know how to navigate around the car? Oh, it does. It does. Oh, it goes back in. Oh, what if that car sped up? I don't know, but that was interesting too, right? It went around the car, and now we've arrived, and Apple Store is right there. So we're done. Our destination is here, and that is the end of this video.